Just hours ago, a massive announcement completely shattered the expectations of the tennis world and sent shockwaves straight through the Philippines and the United States. The official brackets for the prestigious Berlin Open were thought to be completely locked in, leaving the world's most promising young talents to fight through a brutal, exhausting qualifying draw. But in a stunning, sudden twist of events that nobody saw coming, the tournament directors stepped in and made a choice that changes absolutely everything for the future of Asian tennis. Eala has officially bypassed the grueling qualifiers and has been handed a direct golden ticket into the main draw of the WTA 500 Berlin Open via a shocking wildcard entry. This single administrative decision completely flips the script on her entire season, turning what was supposed to be a stressful, fatigue-inducing month into an unprecedented golden opportunity. To understand why this is causing such an absolute frenzy among top tennis analysts and lighting up social media feeds globally, you have to realize the extreme stakes of what just happened. If you look at the professional calendar, we are sitting right on the edge of the historic grass court Grand Slam Wimbledon. For any professional tennis player, earning a direct spot in the Wimbledon main draw is the ultimate dream, the absolute pinnacle of their seasonal goals. However, the window to secure enough ranking points to guarantee that safety is closing incredibly fast, with the definitive seeding and entry cutoffs happening in just a matter of days. Before this wildcard announcement dropped out of nowhere, Eala was facing a near-impossible physical and mental challenge that threatened to derail her entire grass court campaign. She was looking at a schedule that required her to fly across Europe, immediately step onto unfamiliar courts, and exhaust her energy in back-to-back qualifying matches against highly desperate, lower-ranked opponents who have absolutely nothing to lose. In the brutal world of professional tennis, qualifiers are often described as a meat grinder, where players burn through their physical reserves before the actual tournament even begins, leaving them completely vulnerable in the opening rounds of the main event. Now, with the stroke of a pen from the Berlin tournament directors, she is completely exempted from that nightmare scenario. This massive wildcard saves her body from immense fatigue, grants her valuable days of pure rest and strategic court adaptation, and provides her with an immediate path to the highest-paying, highest-reward matches of her young career. This is the exact kind of career-defining break that separate the good players from the future superstars of the tour. But make no mistake about it, while this wild card is an incredible blessing, it has simultaneously dropped her straight into the most dangerous, high-pressure competitive environment she has ever stepped into in her life. This isn't just a regular mid-tier tour event where a young prodigy can ease her way into the early rounds. The Berlin Open main draw is a total tactical slaughterhouse. Because it serves as the premier warm-up event on grass before everyone heads to London, 9 out of the top 10 players on the planet have officially descended upon Germany. We are talking about the absolute giants of the sport, the unyielding powerhouses who dominate the late stages of Grand Slams. Heavy hitters like the unstoppable world powerhouse Aryna Sabalenka, the lethal grass court specialist and reigning Grand Slam champion Elena Rybakina, and the fiercely consistent American icon Jessica Pegula are all standing in her way, waiting to defend their territory with absolute ruthlessness. For a young player aiming to break deep into the world rankings and establish herself as a permanent elite threat, this is the ultimate trial by fire. The margin for error has officially dropped to absolute zero. Every single serve, every return, and every tactical baseline rally in Berlin will require flawless execution, because these top 10 players capitalize on a single loose point and turn it into a match-winning breakaway in the blink of an eye. The timing of this breaking news makes the surrounding drama even more intense because it comes directly on the heels of a massive, exhausting emotional roller coaster over the past few weeks. Just days ago, the entire fan base was celebrating a historic milestone when Eala put on an absolute masterclass at the Birmingham Open. She dominated her way through the draw, showcasing a lethal level of grit, court intelligence, and physical endurance to overcome a brutal, high-stakes final against Nicola Bartonkova. Capturing that spectacular victory was supposed to be the definitive proof that her grass court game was hitting an all-time peak. The hype surrounding her momentum was entirely real, and fans were deeply convinced she was completely unstoppable going into the United Kingdom's premier events. But tennis is a beautiful, yet cruel sport that can humble even the most confident champion in less than 24 hours. And what happened next at the Queen's Club Championships left the entire community in absolute disbelief. After kicking off the tournament with a spectacular, high-energy victory over Chinese veteran Zhang Shuai, where she looked completely dialed in with a swift, dominant 6-3, 6-2 performance, she collided headfirst into a psychological and tactical brick wall. In the very next round, she had to face her ultimate modern rival, the fast-rising American superstar Iva Jovic. The history between Eala and Iva Jovic has quickly transformed into one of the most intensely discussed, highly analyzed storylines on the modern WTA Tour. Just weeks prior, it was Jovic who shockingly disrupted Eala's grand ambitions on the red clay courts of the French Open, knocking her out in a fiercely contested match that left fans wanting answers. This rematch at the Queen's Club was supposed to be Eala's grand moment of ultimate revenge, a chance to show the world that she had adapted, evolved, and figured out the complex tactical puzzle that Jovic presents on the court. Instead, the exact opposite happened, exposing raw vulnerabilities that nobody expected. Jovic came out with a hyper-aggressive, deeply calculated game plan that completely threw Eala out of her comfort zone right from the opening serve. Eala fought desperately to find her footing on the slick grass, trying to alter her baseline angles, use her heavy topspin, and bring out her signature depth. But Jovic was absolutely relentless, reading her serve perfectly and capitalizing on every single short ball. In a stunningly quick match, Jovic handed Eala a brutal straight sets defeat, repeating the exact same dominance from Paris and abruptly snapping Eala's incredible grass court winning streak. The immediate reaction across major sports forums and tennis media outlets was a mix of intense panic, heavy skepticism, and deep concern for her future. Critics immediately began to question whether Eala's defensive game was truly ready to withstand the crushing tactical pressure of top-tier opponents, and whispers began to spread like wildfire that her Wimbledon main draw dreams were in serious, immediate jeopardy. The psychological blow of losing back-to-back big matches to the exact same rival can easily break a young player's confidence, creating a mental barrier that takes months to overcome, especially when transitioning between surfaces as unforgiving and drastically different as clay and grass. But this is exactly why this sudden Berlin Open wildcard announcement is a monumental, season-saving game-changer. It acts as an instant psychological lifeline and a massive definitive reality check for her harshest critics. The tournament directors in Berlin did not hand her this highly coveted slot out of simple charity or random luck. They gave it to her because her explosive playstyle, her dynamic court presence, and her undeniable global star power bring a massive, passionate audience to the stadium. The tennis establishment knows exactly what she is capable of when she is firing on all cylinders, and they want to see how her lethal forehand, her quick court coverage, and her fierce competitive spirit match up against the absolute best names in the business. They recognize that she is a box office attraction who elevates the energy of any tournament she enters. From a purely tactical and analytical standpoint, this tournament now represents the absolute peak of her season's ambitions, a high-stakes crossroads that could launch her into the stratosphere. Right now, her primary overriding goal is to break cleanly through the top rankings threshold. Hitting those specific numbers is everything in modern tennis, because it completely changes how a player is treated at a Grand Slam. Securing an automatic main draw spot at Wimbledon means she would completely avoid facing any of the top 10 giants in the early, unpredictable rounds of the tournament, giving her a smooth path to go deep into the second week. If she can manage to settle her nerves, block out the noise of her recent loss, and pull off even a single shocking upset against a seeded superstar in Berlin, the massive influx of WTA ranking points will instantly vault her up the ladder. It would make her a dangerous, unseeded floating powerhouse that no top player wants to draw in London. The stage is now officially set for an absolute cinematic showdown on the historic grass of Germany. The qualifiers who spent the week grinding away are forced to watch from the sidelines as Eala steps directly into the main stadium arena alongside the likes of Sabalenka, Rybakina, and Pegula. Her physical health has been perfectly preserved. Her competitive hunger is at an all-time high after the bitter taste of the recent Jovic defeat. And she has the unstoppable backing of an entire global community cheering her on every single time she strikes the ball. This tournament is no longer just about recovering from a minor setback or accumulating match practice. This is her golden opportunity to completely silence every single doubter, rewrite the entire narrative of her 2026 season, and prove to the world that she doesn't just belong in the draw with the tennis elites, but that she is actively coming to take their crown. The global audience is watching, the high-stakes draw is officially set, and the true, defining test of a champion begins right now on the grass of Berlin.